Hi YouTube. I know I already made a video today, um, but I was watching my old videos and I wanted to talk about my mental health journey and like my experiences, just to kind of keep it updated. I haven't really gone into detail on things too much on my videos. And also, I realized that I haven't updated my relationship situation. I know I kind of touched a little bit on it in my last video, so I'll go ahead and just, you know, update everything. So, I was going to talk about my mental health. In my last video, when I was giving gobshite advice in my backyard, I was talking about my experience with medication and how it made me feel and my plans for what kinds of medication I was willing to take and not willing to take and stuff like that. Well, I want to say it's been a year just based off the video footage. It all says it's been about a year. So I want to try and be a little bit accurate, but I'm not quite clear on the timeline because I have bad memory. I have memory issues, which is not new, but it's just something I deal with, which I'm actually been learning about. I'll touch on my memory stuff later, but I don't take any medications anymore, like at all. I haven't really needed to. So around the time, it was last August when I lost my 8.5 week pregnancy to laparoscopic surgery. I had to remove it. And around that time, when I had found out that I was pregnant, I stopped taking all my medications because I didn't want to risk the pregnancy. And I always promised myself that after the pregnancy, I would go back on meds because I didn't want to go back to that mental space that I was in and stuff. I don't know why it keeps like zooming in and out on me. That's weird. But yeah, so after I was pregnant, I stopped taking medications. And my mental health wasn't too good, but I was, excited about being pregnant. And then when it came out that I would need surgery and that I need to remove it, my mental health was declining and I was really like unconsolably sad. Screaming, crying, arguing, fighting, like it was just probably the worst I've ever been. And I don't feel like I was suicidal at that time after I lost the baby. I was more just really sad and just heartbroken. And I tried to like pretend that I was fine, or I would, because I posted about it a little bit on how I felt, and I was like, I'm not good, but I'm trying to be brave. So yeah, around that time, I was just off medications, and I haven't been on medications for about a year, maybe almost 2 years now. Just based off of, it was last August and now it's November, so almost a year and a half. And honestly, I don't feel like I ever needed to be on lithium. I don't feel like I even have borderline personality. And I was formally diagnosed, and none of this stuff was like me putting labels on, because it was like the trend or whatever. So what I feel like, and this is just my own analysis of myself, I feel like I was in such a toxic environment that my body and my brain were like giving me warning signals, and it was like, hey, you're not in a good place. Hey, you need to change things. Hey, stuff's wrong. And at the time, I wasn't aware that Michael cheated on me. And but I had like a feeling that he did. And he basically made me feel crazy. He was like gaslighting me and like convincing me that that's something he would never do, and like telling me that I'm just paranoid, and he would just play on my own insecurities and just playing on my emotions and pushing me into headspaces where I would overflow with emotions. There's definitely no doubt in my mind that I don't struggle with depression, because I do. I just handle it differently now. And I'm very sensitive. I've always been very sensitive. But I don't feel like there's anything wrong with being sensitive. It's really just how you treat people when you're in those headspaces that I've been trying to work on. I really don't think I had borderline personality, because if I was, then the last couple years I would have been like consistently like crazy. Like I would have high highs, low lows, and everything in between. Because borderline personality is pretty similar to bipolar disorder, and I've seen both. Like witnessed it firsthand by people who were diagnosed and genuinely bipolar and borderline. And I'm nothing like them, personally. I'm not saying that I haven't had like terrible moments where I was like really depressed or like really angry. But honestly, I feel like at the time I was just like reacting to my environment. And now that I'm out of that environment, I have had 0 panic attacks. 0. I have had less mood swings. And how I track it is I journal a lot, but also I have like this little octopus thing in my car, and anytime I have a mood swing, I will flip it. So I'm like acknowledging that I'm having a mood swing. And I haven't had to like flip the octopus at all. I know it's a little childish, like using a toy or whatever, but it was honestly like a good little tool for me to just validate how I'm feeling and express how I'm feeling so that other people can see. And it's just like a simple way for me to do that. But the only time I've had to flip it is when Michael was impeding on my boundaries and like not respecting things that I've put in place, or talks to me any type of way that I'm not wanting to be talked like. And honestly, like I feel like since I broke up with him, which it's been about 5 months since we broke up, maybe a little bit longer. I'm bad at timelines. Like it's hard for me to keep track of time. Like genuinely, that's just my reality. I'm bad at timelines. But about 5 months, I think. And then even more recently, I like stopped talking to him altogether. And I feel like ever since then, my mental health has just been like way, way better. And I'm, of course, like obviously I cried on camera, but I don't feel like it was that bad. Like I feel like it was necessary. I honestly haven't even cried in a long time. Just, you know, and I just felt like I needed it. So I just kind of let it happen. And I was like just expressing everything. And I feel like it was really helpful and therapeutic. So yeah, I generally don't think I have borderline personality, or any kind of disorder. I definitely think I have like generalized anxiety and like maybe like some kind of depression thing, but I personally feel like I'm in control, like I'm driving this vehicle, my body. Like I'm in control of my body and my actions, and um whenever things happen to me that are out of my control, I've noticed how like I'm still in control of my emotions. Like I literally just got hit by a deer 2 days ago and I'm totally fine. Like my car is out of commission and I have not cried about it. I really, it sucks and I'm just gonna have to deal with it, but like I'm fine. And I've noticed myself loving myself more, and it's kind of like I'm in a relationship with myself and I'm trying to build that relationship, and I do things for myself as like an act of service or like an expression of love, and treating myself the way that I would want a partner to treat me. Like if I'm sick, I take medications that I need or drink broth, just do the things that I need for my body. And those are things I would want a partner to do, Like if I'm having cramps or in any kind of visible pain, because I have chronic pain, and so when it happens, I would honestly like to not even have to ask for help. Like if I'm visibly in pain, I've already reached my limit of suppressing it because I ignore my pain all day, but there's a limit, and when I reach that limit, it would be nice if I had a partner that would just notice the signs and like start bringing me things to take care of me. That would be like a huge green flag for me as someone that's very attentive to my needs, because I feel like I do the same effort to whoever I'm with. Is if I see that they need something, or if I'm up, I'll grab them things and be like, here, I got you a drink, or I made you a meal. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or crazy, just like an ice pack and a sweet tea would be sweet, nice. Or if I'm on my period, maybe like bring me some chocolates or like dark chocolate. I like dark chocolate. Reminding me to brush my teeth, like just little shit, like like if you notice I'm struggling, just fill in the gaps. Like that would be really pleasant. Obviously, like I'm fully capable of taking care of myself, and being alone has taught me that and I've literally had to take care of myself while I'm sick. And so, and it was bad. Like I was really, really sick, and I couldn't leave my room or bed, and I was like running out of water. Like it was really bad, but I persevered and did what I needed to do to take care of myself. And I'm always advocating for my needs, and I never apologize for taking time off if I need it, because no one's gonna take care of me but me right now. And I'm not afraid to I don't even ask permission. If I need to take time off, I'm telling them, hey, I'm gonna take this day off because I'm not well and I need to take care of myself. And I don't apologize, because I'm like, if you need me to work and you need me to be an important service in this position, then you need to respect that I'm not always going to be able to perform, because I'll be sick. I'm a human with chronic issues. I've been diagnosed with endometriosis, and PCOS, by my doctor, and I've tried every medication there is that you can do for endometriosis, and it honestly would just make things worse. I personally don't like even taking painkillers unless it's absolutely necessary, because I just don't like putting pills in my body. I don't, and that's just my personal preference. I'm not judging anyone that like religiously takes pills or whatever, and some people it's like they really need it. If there was a cure for what I have to put up with every day, I would take it in a heartbeat. But everything that I've tried pill form has not helped at all. Things that I've noticed that does help with my anxiety, my chronic pain, just as like a tip for anyone that doesn't want to take pills also and wants to try things. One of the things that really helps with anxiety for me is physical contact, and if you don't have that, then weighted blankets are really great. Or like those weighted stuffed animals. I really want to get one that's like kind of like a boa, like a snake, and if they don't exist, I want to make one. Like, I really want one. I just imagine like having the head or like a neck part and then like wrapping it around the front and like in between my legs, just having the weight around me, I feel like really helps. You just see my head, it's so weird. But honestly, like having someone lay on you or like hugs has always helped relieve some of the pain. Most of the pain when I have anxiety accumulates in my chest, and it genuinely, and I'm not exaggerating, because period pain can be like compared to a heart attack, so I think I think I can, compare it to that, but it genuinely feels like I'm having a heart attack. It's very, very painful, and it is debilitating. It runs all the way down my arm, and I like literally brought it up to my doctor many times, and they've always just been like, well, you're too young to have heart problems, so, and it would be too expensive to get you an EKG, so I think it's just your anxiety. So, I mean, who the fuck knows? But then I also have had blood clots in my legs, so like it's really frustrating when I'm like concerned about my heart, or like anything near my chest area, and they're just like, oh, it's just anxiety, and I'm like, yeah, but what if it's a blood clot? And you're just like, I'm gonna die, it's just annoying when people like doctors just write you off and they don't actually like listen to you. But I think it is a little bit tied to it. It's probably just how my body reacts to stress, is just like send pain signals, I guess. I don't know. But when I do receive like physical hugs or like affection or just being held for a little bit, it does help the pain for me. It just kind of helps me to relax a little, and I feel that little bit of relief. Also, I take hot showers or like hot baths, so like changing temperatures, it's kind of like a type of compression, I guess. Sometimes I'll just put an ice pack on my chest, and that has helped relieve pain from the anxiety. It also go up my neck and like in my shoulder, so I'll just like rotate the ice pack around every like 15-20 minutes, and then I'll alternate to like heat, and that usually helps. And then as far as chronic pain goes, whenever I have a flare up, I will use heating pads, ice packs. I'll take Midol if it's like unbearable, which it does get pretty unbearable. So I'll use the crap out of Midol. It's like the only thing that helps for me. Because it's like a muscle relaxer, so. And then I've also tried Tiger Balm, which helps a little bit. You just cannot put it on after like a shower, because if your pores are too open, then it'll like burn. So just use very little bit. You don't need a lot for the Tiger Balm to work. When I was in the Army, I would use Tiger Balm for shin splints and like just like leg pain. I would just like lather it And all the people are like, oh, that smells so bad, because it's got kind of like a mentally kind of cinnamony smell, but some people don't like it, but I personally love it. It kind of smells like India. Like, I don't know how to, it smells like Indian smells. I don't know. Indian medicine. That's just, I mean, that might be racist, but it just smells like Indian food, or like an Indian dish. I don't know. It's like kind of like an incense, like the Egyptian musk kind of smell, or like patchouli. It's kind of like that. Like, it smells good to me. I like it. And I'll like put it on my chest too, if sometimes, and that helps with the pains. And then what else helps? Oh, well, tea helps. I'll drink hot tea, or I'll drink like really cold water. Really, those are the only things that I can do to manage my pain. The rest is all like mental fortitude, like just dealing with it. I mean, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't really plan on being put on meds again, ever. And I can never take birth control either, because that's literally the only thing they prescribe for you when they're like, I think I have endometriosis, or I think I have PCOS. They're like, okay, we need to talk about birth control, because it's supposed to help your periods get lighter or something. But I feel like for that, it's supposed to be when you're early on in it, and I'm almost 30, and so like, it's a little too late to try and put me on birth control to help with the period situation, because the damage is already done. Like, all the damage that I've could have avoided is already done. So, and plus I only have one ovary now, so like, she's running on overdrive. So, you know, birth control is not going to help. And when I was put on birth control last time, I got blood clots on my leg. Like, multiple, not just one. It was multiple. It was a cluster of them right above my knee, in my thigh, and like up in my groin. Like, like on your thigh, like right before you hit the groin. And it was the most painful experience I've had. It was like, and then right before that, I had a miscarriage right before I was put on that birth control. And that was bad, because I had like pain in my lower spine, and I had contractions, and I had to wear like diapers. Like, it was bad. Like, it was a lot. So dealing with like all those things, and then having my relationship issues, and then it was just like so much things. So like, honestly, if you're feeling like really, really depressed, and this just like, take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying it's a cure-all, but it worked for me. If you're really depressed and the people in your life are causing you stress and making you feel paranoid, you know, and I know it's easier said than done, and it was really hard for me to leave, but if you can get out of those situations, please do it for yourself. Please. Like, even if you have children, a healthy mom is going to be a better mom. And if you're in an unhealthy relationship, you're not benefiting anybody. Genuinely. Because leaving Michael was probably the best thing I've done for myself. And I really loved him. Like, I'm still obsessed with him, and I know that he's not good for me, but every time I see him or hear him or talk to him, all I want to do is get back with him. But every time I leave him, I'm way more healthy and happier and stable, and I don't think I'm ever going to go back to him. I really don't. Just having someone manipulate me so many times to the point where I didn't know what was up and what was down, and, you know, I honestly can't even remember any of the good times, because it was so many bad times. Like, it was bad. And I don't know what I did to deserve that. I don't know what I did. I'm sure it was something, because I had to have done something. I know that I've ruined both of my relationships and turned them into that, but I don't deserve to be cheated on, and I don't deserve to be pushed into that mental state to the point where I had to be medicated and I had to be almost hospitalized. And that was all on him, on how he was treating me, and his lack of commitment. The insecurity in the relationship was like a big trigger for me. I have abandonment wounds. I have a lot of trauma, and I tried to be strong, like, a lot, but I would always end up falling back into that cycle of abuse, and me and him would just be really abusive to each other, and, like, never, like, physical abuse, but it was always, like, verbal and mental, and then one of us would start crying, and we would just try to comfort each other and just restart the cycle. And it was just really toxic. I really don't think there was any way we could have fixed it, because he just kept saying stuff like, you should just do couples counseling, and you need to go back to therapy, get back on your meds. And I'm like, I'm almost all the way comfortable. I'm pretty sure the only thing I need at this point to be fully comfortable is a full hysterectomy, because then I would have no more discomfort in that area, and I'm not ready to accept that yet. I'm not ready to face that yet, like, face that decision. So the fact that he would even suggest that I need to be back on meds pissed me off, because the only person who can decide I need to be on meds is me. And I did not do well on meds. In fact, being put on meds probably was the reason I was more susceptible to suicide, because that is a symptom of meds in some cases. It'll make you feel even more suicidal until you level out. So I was like, so what you're saying is you liked me better when I was a placid, easily manipulated zombie, and that's the person you want me to be again. And I was like, absolutely not. And I don't have the money for a therapist. The free therapist that I had access to never had time for me, ever. Like, I would have an appointment, and there would be like an appointment mishap because there's another Elizabeth that, we just kept getting our appointments switched, and then I would show up and she would be late, and then I'm like, so why doesn't the doctor just see me? Like, I'm here now. And it was just frustrating. I would just have to keep re-explaining my situation and like what I'm feeling, and it was just like really shitty. I just hate having to like trauma dump to some random stranger. Like, that's gonna help, because it doesn't. Because they just look at you like, oh wow, that's a lot. And I'm like, yeah, bitch, it's a lot. Do you have like suggestions? Do you have any homework for me? No? Okay. Oh, you want to put me on medications? No. No. Because then I would talk to my sisters, and they would be like, oh yeah, my therapist is so great, blah blah blah, and like they would talk about all their homework they had to do to like process things and unpack things and things they learned about themselves. And I'm like, where's that? Where can I get that? Because I'm broke, and my insurance is shit. It literally only covers emergencies. It doesn't cover anything else. Like, even for regular doctor checkups, it's expensive. So I'm like, where can I get this wonderful therapy that everyone talks about? So, like, pretty much all I could do is watch TikToks of, like, therapists talking about things and watch YouTube videos of other people going through the same things I'm going through, because I personally, and this is just the thing that I don't like, I'm not saying that other people don't like it, but I hate when people try to relate to you when their situation is not like yours at all. I know it's like a human reaction and like it's supposed to be nice or whatever, but for me it's just shitty, because then now I feel like shit, you know? Like, I'm sorry that you went through that. I don't see how it relates to me though, because it's nothing like what I'm dealing with. It's like when I lost my baby, I had a lady tell me, I lost my son 7 years ago and blah blah blah, and I'm like, that is tragic and probably even more tragic than my situation, so how does that help me at all? You know, like, your son had a life and you got to know this son and you got to love him. Mine didn't even get a chance. So how does that help me process my grief? Like, it doesn't. It just makes me feel like shit that you lost your son, you know? Like, that doesn't help me at all. So I genuinely don't like when people try to relate to me and it's not even comparable. The only thing that has ever helped me is talking to people that have the exact same experience. Like, oh yeah, I had an ectopic pregnancy and my fallopian tube like burst and I had to go into emergency surgery, and I can completely relate to that. Even though mine didn't burst and I caught it early, I know what you went through and I know what it was like to heal from that, and I know what it's like to lose a life before it could even start. Like, my son had a heartbeat before, you know, till the end of the surgery. Like, he had a heartbeat the entire time. And it breaks my heart that I had to choose my life over his. There's literally no feeling like it. That and a part of my body was removed from me. And I was immediately aware of it. And when I woke up from the OR, it was very traumatic for me because I didn't know anyone around me. I was in the OR, so no one's allowed in there during COVID. Like, in all the fucking doctor shows, they show people coming out of the OR and their families are holding their hands. And it wasn't like that for me because of COVID. So the only person there was this nurse, and everything was so blurry because of the medication, so I couldn't really see him. And I was like, it was like a waking up and it was like, where's my kidney kind of moment, because I knew something was missing, but I was so drugged up and like tired, and then I was crying because he was gone, and the doctor was giving me ice chips, or nurse, and I was like, can I have a hug? And he gave me a hug and it was really nice, but it was just a very traumatic experience for me. And nobody can like relate to that unless you've experienced it, unless you've had a surgery and woke up in the OR and there's nobody there around you except random nurses that you've never met. Yeah, I didn't meet this guy beforehand. I didn't know who he was, and I don't even think I'll ever remember what he looked like, because it was just like a blurry nurse guy who was feeding me ice chips and gave me a hug. And I was really glad that I had that little bit of human connection during that traumatic experience, because if I woke up and there was no one there, I don't know what I would have done. It would have been a lot worse. And then just the whole experience, you know, it was really hard to get through, and I had to do it by myself, basically, because, you know, my best friend stopped talking to me because I guess I was too depressed to be around her son, and she had just had a baby, and I never even got to meet him, even though I took her to the ultrasounds and stuff. Like, I was always there for her through her pregnancy. And so when she just stopped talking to me, it was very out of nowhere. And I was dealing with like health issues, and I was really depressed, and I'm like, had no one except Michael, and he didn't even really want to be around me. Like, no one prepares you for that shit. But I mean, I'm a million times better than I was last August. And I might look sad now, and it's just because I'm like reliving thinking about it. But genuinely, excuse me, I am so much better off than I was, and I've healed a lot, and I've done it literally by myself, except maybe my grandmother and who else? My friends. I mean, they've been there for me. I have Lane and Wiley and Annette, and I have a new friend group that I hang out with. Josh, I mean, even though I don't know if that's going to go anywhere, I can talk to him sometimes. He's busy. He's got a new job, and, you know, it might not go anywhere, but you never know. Life is weird. I might end up meeting someone totally different and fall in love with them and blah, blah, blah. Whatever, you know. And I have me. I've always had me, and that, honestly, that's why I'm like more in love with myself now, because, and I'm not saying that like, oh, you know, I love myself, like, I'm selfish, like, I love myself like as a separate person, not like a self-preservation kind of thing. It's more of like, I've developed a relationship with myself as a separate entity, because I have no one else there for me, so I'm always just making sure my needs are met, and I just respect whatever I'm going through. I'm just like, okay, so right now I'm depressed, so I'm going to make sure I have everything that I need so that I can get through this little depression, and I know that it'll pass, and that I'm just healing from loss right now. So if I get bad, then I know who to call, and, you know, but so far I've been pretty, like, self-sustainable and happy. Most days I've been pretty happy, but, I mean, there are days when I'm like, all I'm gonna do today is sleep and then go to work, and that's all I can handle that day, and that's fine. People at work are good. Like, my life's pretty good right now. I've been thinking about maybe getting a pet, like a snake or frogs or like a cat, because it's really quiet and lonely being in my apartment by myself all the time. And I sleep enough. Like, I sleep as much as I can. I sleep when I can, and I shower daily. I make sure I'm clean and my apartment's clean. My apartment's cool. I got entertainment. I'm set. I've got goals. So, I mean, I don't know where I was trying to go with this, but this is where I'm at now. Sorry, future Libby, if I confused you and went on a tangent, but I really just needed to update on how I'm doing compared to how I was, and talk about medication, because it was important. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. It's another 40-minute video for you. If you watched this, thank you, and, you know, If you comment or like it or whatever, I don't. That's fine. Y'all have a good fucking day.